Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Runestone. Today we'll be doing Let's Talk Legendary, and we'll be talking about Elias Il-Kor. So, Elias Il-Kor is actually, you can see based on the picture, is a Phyrexian from the plane of Dominaria. As Elias was once a Kor, she has this chalky white skin, like most of her people. She has a glistening oil which comes out of her head in constant streams, and that's why she has a shaved head. She even has glistening oil coming out of her left hand. As she is a Phyrexian, her voice sounds more like a construct, more like a horrible voice than something soothing. According to Shannon Maguire's short story, Homecoming, Elias says to herself, I am one, but I am also distinct, for the sake of what must be done. But sadly, Elias had had such a sad history, as there was a time before she was turned into a Phyrexian. It all started when she was exploring an ancient ruin, Rathi rune, when she got exposed to the glistening oil. When this happened, she got visions of the Phyrexian praetor Sheohaldred. Because of this, she went to search for him and pledged her loyalty. Of course, Elias Eokar wanted the power of Limdul's spirits. To do this, her and several Phyrexians had gone to Vest Manor to attack Lilania Vest. It was a very unsuccessful attack as she was able to defeat them all, with Elias the only one escaping. And that is all the information we have her at the time of this video. So she's actually represented in one card and one card alone, which you've seen throughout the video. Is, well, it's a 2/2 for Death Touch. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, you gain 1 life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So it's a very cool, unexpected, uncommon from that set. So this is actually the only card. So I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be talking about Ormos, the Archive Keeper today. So as you can guess by the picture and the name, Ormos is an archivist. Ormos is from an unknown plane. Ormos manages a vast library. Because Ormos is a perfectionist who doesn't want anyone to visit the library until everything is organized. Of course, Ormos works in a special library where a book is written. It will appear in the library, on the shelves, all of a sudden. As the books are written every minute, Ormos has tremendous tasks ahead of her to organize everything forever. And believe it or not, that is all the information we have on this Sphinx. So Ormos is actually represented in 1 card only. It costs 6 mana for this 5/5 flyer. It says if you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead put 5+1/+1 counters on them. Or you can discard 3 cards with different names and draw 5 cards, which most likely we use because it'd be very hard to have no cards in your library while trying to put counters on it. It's very tricky in Magic to do that, but a really cool card and nevertheless. And I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Runestone. Today we're doing Let's Talk Legendary, and today we'll be doing Ragavan. So, well, for obvious reasons, you can see that Ragavan is actually a monkey. This monkey is from the Pima Forest, which is actually located on the plain of Kaldash. Ragavan is a pirate who has a pirate partner who is Captain Kari Zev. These two became partners from a really long time ago in their childhood. Ragavan had actually snuck onto the airship Sunchaser when it was stopped for supplies in the Pima Forest. It is said that Ragavan did not fit in with the other monkeys. So in time, Ragavan became an important person to the pirate crew, often easily stealing the treasures while the other pirates were fighting on the other ships, while they were trying to get treasure. Ragavan even helped his friend Kari become captain of her own ship. While this happened, she decided to raid the consulate. The consulate is a governing power of Gibraltar. Ragavan with Kari still pillage and plunder, sometimes getting great treasures, though most or some of the money is actually used to repair the ships and so forth. And that is all the information we have on Ragavan at the moment. So Ragavan, as you can see, is actually represented in 2 cards. This first one being Ragavan, the token legendary creature. I just like saying that, token legendary creature. Very unbelievable to have that, but here it is. And I like the picture, it's really cool. It really represents Ragavan when he's on the ship. So Ragavan, Nimble, Pilferer is the second card that he's represented. And believe it or not, this Modern Horizon 2 card is absolutely powerful. It's, I think, going for roughly $70 to $80 on the market right now. And so you can see the card. For 1 mana, it's a 2/1. So right there, it's a good card. But it says, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. Wow. And then you have Dash. So you may cast a spell from its dash cost. If you do, it gains haste, and it is returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. 3 mana for a 2/1 haste, and you get to play possibly. Anyway, this is a very, very powerful call. Really cool, representing Ragavan, showing that a monkey pirate can be a legendary creature and very powerful as well. So Ragavan is actually associated with one card, as you can see, is Zev's Skyship Raider. And throughout the whole storyline, these two are together all the time, and you can see in the picture that he is with Carrie. They are a perfect team, and it's really kind of cool because it says, when she attacks, create a 2/1 red monkey creature token named Ragavan that's tapped and attacking. So this card really goes into the storyline. And the last card that he's actually depicted in is, well, Carrie Zev's expertise, and there he is in the picture. And she's going, I was made for this. Anyway, this picture looks like it's when they were doing the whole consulate attack. So it could be anything else, but it would be very good that it was represented in this picture. But anyway, there's Ragavan, and that's all the information on pictures now. And I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Runesnow, and today we're in Let's Talk Legendary. And today we'll be doing Saryth, the Viper's Fang. So Saryth is a human from the plane of Innistrad. She is actually from the province of Kessig, which actually has many farmlands and dark woods. Saryth is a human from the Head Witch, who was part of the Dawnheart Coven. She was at odds with Catilidia, who was also part of the Coven, because Saryth did not think that Grin Danu was actually powerful enough to restore Innistrad to its former glory. Now, Grin Danu was actually a god who should be the only one worshipped according to the Coven, and not other gods, but of course Saryth believed in worshipping other gods as well. Because of this, she was actually either expelled or left the Coven, we do not know. As a result, she founded her own Coven. This was worshipping a snake god of vengeance and venom who is long forgotten. It is said that she quietly schemes. In her Coven, she actually controlled a woman called Sina, who was the younger sister of Lenore. Lenore was actually the Autumn Sovereign. Saryth wanted to summon a creature called the Coiled One, who was actually a snake-like god. Sina's job was to acquire people for sacrifice and to get this god into the being. But of course, Sina was supposed to be the final sacrifice for the ritual, but was saved by her sister and Catilia. But as Sina was being rescued, it actually interrupted the ritual. And when this happened, a huge hole was created where Saryth had fallen into it. It is told that this is where she had perished, but we don't know that for sure. So that is actually all the information we have on her at the time of this video. And as you can see throughout the video, this is the only card that she's represented is Saryth, the Viper's Fang, for 2 colors and 2 forests. And this 3/4 is actually kind of cool because as other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof, and then you can pay 1 to untap target creature or land you control. So that's a really cool ability. For 4 mana, you can do a lot with this. And that's all the information we don't have her. And I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rune. So today we'll be doing Let's Talk Legendary, but we'll be doing the complete history on Serra, the legendary planeswalker. Serra is actually a human planeswalker, not an angel like most people would assume. Serra had an affinity for such creatures as angels. We don't know where she was born or where she came from, but we do know that she was a very powerful planeswalker and she was able to create her own plane known as Serra's Realm. On Dominaria, there was a church actually called the Church of Serra, which was created a whole religion around her. When Zenshia, the sleeper agent who came from a plane called Phyrexia, visited the plane Serra's Realm, according to Zenshia, Serra looked like a plain woman who showed signs that she worked really hard. But believe it or not, Serra first created angels on the plane of Dominaria thousands of years ago. Around this time, the Church of Serra was created when the Shiltone Empire was ruling at the time. The church was then located in Epiter. As you know, Serra actually created a realm known as Serra's Realm. This place was filled with human worshippers and angels that she created. The story of this can be found in what's known as the Song of All. But Serra's realm was actually destroyed by Urza inadvertently because he was injured battling the Phyrexian and he went to this realm to heal, where the Phyrexians of course followed him and there battled many angels and followers. Because of this battle, they had left such a mark on the realm that their essence actually distracted Serra and she couldn't stay in the realm any longer. But now, the Archangel Radiant guards the realm. With Serra deciding to leave, she actually traveled to one of many planes. When Serra visited the plane of Olgrathia, she found the love of her life with another planeswalker known as Faraz. Faraz was actually created something called the Faraz's Band as a sort of shield from the plane so that other planeswalkers don't enter the realm to bother them. While on Ogorthra, she actually spent time protecting the people from vampires and Baron Singer until Faraz was accidentally killed. After his death, she went into the plane of Dominaria in the city of Circe. She was so heartbroken that she led her life as a refugee. She was actually killed by some mysterious planeswalker who was actually a thief. When the thief had hurt her, she could have actually saved herself, but she chose not to as the loss of Faraz had really affected her. As she was dying, she used the last of her strength to renew the land around Circe. Brother Angus was the only one who was actually there and created what's known as the Cathedral of Serra, which was built around her tomb. Angus was the one who managed to almost completely save Serra from the thief. When Serra actually had died, Radiant took over, but did not have such passion as Serra. As a result of this, Radiant and her followers easily became corrupted by Phyrexia, and thus a war began on Serra's realm. And the last little bit of information we have on Serra just right after her death was that her realm actually was collapsed by Urza, so Phyrexia did not take it over. Urza used the Weatherlight and tried to save as many Serran refugees before he did this. And that is actually all the information that is actually about Serra. That's really crazy because there's a lot of cards about her, but not a lot of information. So Serra is represented in this card from Modern Horizons, which I'm surprised it took this long to do. So it's Serra the Bevel in it, would cost 4 mana for this 4. It kind of ties in with that whole angel theme, right? 4 mana for a 4/4. Basically says creatures control with Fang get +1/+1 on the talent to turn for that +2, and then -3 create a 4/4 angel creature token with flying and vigilance. And if -6 if you get damage, that would reduce your life total to less than 1, reduces it to 1 instead. So this whole Serra thing, really cool picture. I'm really glad they finally got this card out, and it just makes everything just tie in together. So we're going to go over the many cards that Serra is associated with. And the first one being from Mark Poole. This card is Cathedral of Serra. So there is the picture of the Cathedral of Serra. You can't get any more than that. It's a really cool picture. That's the card. Next card that she's associated with is Herald of Serra. It costs Flying Echo. Attacking does not cause the Herald to tap. But again, Herald of Serra is from Serra's realm. And it's a Herald. It's, again, another card that's pretty self-explanatory. And the next card we have is On Serra's Wings. Does have that canto, which is really cool because there's several cantos throughout the entire Magic world, primarily in the Urza block. It says the spirit of Serra raised Burndy high and commanded her to keep the balance. Songball, Canto 524, and there are the wings. Next we have is Radiant Serra Angel from the Commander series. Cost 7 mana for that 6/4. And well, Radiant is actually the angel that took over when Serra was not around. It's another non-specific card. It says Serra's Blessing. Well, this card is obviously about Serra's Blessing. It says Rise and I will show you how to run without flattering, fight without raging, and fly without wings. So that's a really cool saying. I'm surprised it's not a canto, but that's the way it is. Next card we have that she's associated with is, well, Serra's Boon. So most of these cards are actually named after Serra and quite literally does whatever it should in the storyline, so everything just works out. Next card that Serra's associated with as well is Serra's Embrace. It says Chandra creature gets ++2/+2. It has flying, and the touch of Serra's angels bears hope aloft, empowers noble causes. The next card Serra is associated with is, well, Serra's Emissary. That when swords fail, faith transcends. So it kind of almost looks like her, but that's the way it is. And another card that's pretty obvious is Serra's Guardian. Well, she watches over the city just as Serra watches over all. Serra's Guardian. So that's a pretty cool card in general. And another card that Serra is associated with, well, it's pretty standard. Look in the picture, it's Serra's hymn. And you got Serra in the background with those two women hymning. So that's a really cool card itself. Next we have is Serra's Liturgy. And basically, there's more of the church glass thing in the background and the name and with the pictures in there. And my favorite card of all time is Serra's Sanctum. Well, a fragile cocoon of dreaming will. This is basically Serra's realm, and I just absolutely love this picture. I love the card. This is one of, I'm going to keep saying it, my favorite card in all of Magic. So it's hard to believe anything could be better. Next card she's associated with, well, is Serra Advocate. An angel's blessing prepares a soldier for war better than 1,000 military drills. Again, the name just says it itself. And the most first and basic of all cards is Serra Angel she's associated with. Can't get any more than that. This card's been around forever. Next card Serra is associated with is, well, Serra Ascendant, and quite good saying is, faith in Serra is its own reward. And another one of my favorite cards in Magic is, well, Serra Avatar. Costs, well, a whopping 7, but it says it equals power and toughness equal to your life total. Serra isn't dead. She lives on through me, the Avatar. Next card is, well, Serra Avenger. For 2 for 3. Those who endure the face of suffering, those who have faith, shines long in the evil days, they shall see salvation. Song of All, one of Serra's cantos, 904. I guess there's a lot of cards Serra's associated with because I'm a fan of white, and well, this was one of my favorite cards in Homelands, but this one is showing not the Homeland symbol, is a Serra's Avery, and Serra, like Faraz, is long since dead, but remember, Daria, her spirit shall survive so long as the Homelands do, Tessir. And that's a really cool picture, and that's just all in all a good card. Next card Serra's associated with is, well, Serra Beastery, and well, there's the picture. Pretty self-explanatory as well. Another card that Serra is associated with is from Homelands, and it says Serra Inquisitors. Well, you know what they do. Next we have is Serra Paladin. 1 light, 1 blade, 1 purpose. Vow of the Serra Paladins. Again, there she is. There's the statue. Just everything just makes sense for this card. Next we have is Serra Sphinx, and that's a time when all this is double master card, but when things were all mixed up in the time world. Sphinxes drink from the mystic mirrors of Serra's realm, where their keen eyes watch reflections of what is and what is yet to come. And the last and final card that Serra is associated with is, well, Serra Zealot. Basically, the humans are useful in their way, but they must be commanded as the builder commands the stone. Be soft with them, and they will become soft. Radiant Archangel. Now we're going to go over a few cards, or about 5 of them, that Serra is depicted in. So the first one we're going to go over is, well, the picture is Cliff Top Retreat. And basically, that is her church. So the saying goes, the sunlight falls on the pristine on the temple at Ipeter, softened by the remembered shadows of the angelic Savior's wings. And that's, of course, when she died, she rejuvenated all that land in that card. And another card that she's depicted in, other than the Song of All Canto, is Congregate. I actually like this card from the Urza series. And as you can see right there on the pedestal in the top left corner, that is Serra looking at her angels. And another card that Serra is depicted in is, well, Humble. There she is in that picture, and the saying is, it is not your place to rule, Radiant. It may not even be mine, Serra. So there's 2 powerful characters in this card. And the last and final card that she's depicted in is, well, Worship. Again, another one of my favorite cards in Magic. And it says, believe in the ideal, not the idol, Serra. And there is the statue as well as Serra in that picture with all the acolytes in the background. So now we're going to start off with a million cards that she was quoted or referred to if you want to look at those. Again, there's a lot of information in the cards about what she says, but information on her, there's not a lot. So let's just straight move on to Abbey Gargoyles. And the saying is, though Serra has not been seen for 20 years, her gargoyles still watch over our city and punish the guilty. Gilson, Abbey Matron. Another quote that she's been associated with is from Homelands, of course, which the whole Faraz thing is Abbey Matron. The matrons are kindly souls, but don't ask one for ale. Helena, Dwarven Trader. Again, because she is an Abbey Matron, it is actually associated with the Serra thing. And another cool card that Serra is associated with is you're going to see a lot of Song of All cards. So this is Canto number 2. It says, into the smothering dark, Serra spoke a single word, hope. And there's the picture. And here is another card, Absolute Grace. In pursuit of Urza, the Phyrexians sent countless foul legions into Serra's realm. Though beaten back, they left it tainted with uncleansable evil, which is totally true. But again, we're talking about Serra's realm, so this is associated with Serra herself. Next card we have is Aeson Highway, and the saying goes, tread the roads of the righteousness, Birat, lest you lose your way and be consumed. Barris, Serra Inquisitor. So we got the Serra Inquisitor quoted in this card, which is again related to the whole Serra thing. And again, another Homelands card. Here we are. It has to do with Barris, the Serra Inquisitor. And it says, the Beast Walkers do great service to Aeson. As humans or as beasts, their heart is yet to Serra true. And the next card that Serra is quoted in is, well, Fallen Angel says, why do you weep for the dead? I rejoice, for they have died for me, fallen angel, to Serra. Next we have is False Prophet. You live for Serra's love. You will not die for it. Again, kind of coincides with the False Prophet. It works out perfect for this kind of card. Then we have Hasdur the Abbot. Wow, that's from Homelands too. Soon Serra will return and choose the Abbot's successor. Else we are lost. Gilson, Abbey Matron. And you didn't see much of him outside of Homelands. This is a legend. But other than that, nothing else special about this guy. Next, we have the infamous spell from Homelands, Dry Spell. It says, my soul thirsts for Serra, salvation, as does my body for life's breath, Deshan's shade. Next, we have is Daughter of Autumn from Homelands. It says, those who say that Serra is dead have never met the Autumn Willow's daughters. They are kind, as generous as Serra would wish us to be. Then we have Divine Presence from Invasion. I actually really like this card from the Invasion series. It says, Serra's light isn't easily extinguished. Rhea Dawnbringer. Next we have is Defiling Tears. And look at the picture. So it says, Serra's living warriors looked on in horror. Where is Our Lady now? They cried. And that picture with the saying just fits perfectly, I think. And the next card we have is Copperleaf Angel. I love this prophecy card. I was really obsessed with this card when it first came out. Anyway, so it says, when Serra made angels, people called her a goddess. My angels are far superior to hers. Latlua, Keldon Overseer. Then we have Catastrophe from Urza Sega. It says, Radiant's eyes flash. Go then, the angels spat at Serra, and leave this world to those who truly care. Next card Serra is quoted in is, well, actually Disenchant from the Urza series. Not all Disenchants, but this one says, let Phyrexia breed evil in the darkness. My holy light will reveal its taint. Serra. Then we have the next card is Crystal Chimes, and basically it says, as Serra was to learn, the peace and sanctity of her realm were as fragile as glass, which is totally true, and again with the whole storyline about Phyrexia. And next card we have is Messia Falcon. I don't know if you guys remember this card. Basically it says, the faith of Serra is born on wings of hope. Gilson, Abbey Matron. Then we finally have Holy Strength. The picture actually has everything to do with Serra in the picture, and there is actually no quote for this type of card. Next on our list is Healing Grace from actually Dominaria. It says, whatever faith you have in Serra, she has more in you. Lyria, Dawnbringer. Then we have Isolated Chapel. And this land is actually from Dominaria, and they finally added the chapel. And that's about it. Is that white or black? Next card we have is Resurrection. I chose the DCI one because it's actually a really cool card. It says, think of this new life not as a gift, but from angels, but as a command to fight for their cause once more. War Blessing of Serra. And then there's Invoke the Divine. It says, let go of all that harms you. Cast your burdens into the darkness and build for the faithful a house of light. Sung of All, Canto 1008. Next from Urza's Destiny is Mask of Law and Grace. The Archangel zealously drove Serra's light into every corner of their new home, as if the Creator still commanded them. Next we have is Reliquary Monk. It says, a thing of Serra's realm exists only by the grace of her followers' faith. Then we have Solidarity from Urza's Destiny. It says, their commitment to Serra is as solid as any shield, which is totally true. Next we have is Metherian Soldier. It says, just as Serra crafted angels of light and faith, Urza constructed an army of sorcery and power to resist the coming invasion. And there's a whole storyline behind this card and this soldier. Then we finally have Hope and Glory from the Urza series as well. It says, Serra ruled by faith. I cannot afford that luxury. Radiant Archangel. Next card we have is actually Purify, one of my favorite cards from the Urza series. It says, destroy all artifacts and enchantments for 5 mana, pretty expensive. But our mother, the sky was her hair, the sun, her face, she danced on the grass in the hills. Song of All, Canto 23. Then we have Healing Salve from Urza Sega. It says, Xanthia is recovering. The medicine is slow, but my magic would have killed her. Serra to Urza. Next on the list is Humble. It says, it is not your place to rule Radiant. It may not even be mine. Serra. I guess Serra and Radiant had a fighting. Now this rare card next is Interpret Hero. It says, we each have our own strengths, Radiant. Serra said with a sly smile, if all of my people were like this one, who would carry your scrolls? Next is from Passism, another Urza card. It says, fight, I cannot. I do not care if I live or die, so long as I can rest. Urza to Serra. And the final and last card that everything is associated with Serra at the time of this video, by the way. Serra told them to guard Urza as he healed. 5 years they stood. Sanctum Custodians. 5 years, that's crazy. So that's it. That's all the cards, all the information we have on Serra at the time of this video. Hopefully in the future they'll release more information. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Rune Snow, and we'll be doing Let's Talk Legendary. Today we'll be talking about Tetzimoc, Primal Death. So as you can see in the card, Tetzimoc is actually an elder dinosaur from the plane of Ixalan. When the Golden City was opened, sometime after it was built, it revealed that dinosaurs actually lived in the area. But during the time of Orzurka had not been discovered, the dinosaurs were actually put there into hibernation. But of course there is a battle going on just for the Immortal Sun, and then each dinosaur came out of hibernation, making Tetzimoc the Primal Death, representing black, and because of that, death is always surrounding it. And with that being said, Tetzimoc Primal Death is only represented one in card only. And with the typical elder dinosaur in every set in the Magic world, it's very powerful and it costs a lot. So it's 6/6 for Death Touch, and it says, pay 1 reveal from your hand, put a prey counter on target creature, activate this ability during your turn. When it is a battlefield, destroy each creature the opponent controls with a prey counter on. So it's a really cool ability. And again, that is all the information we have on this Primal Death Elder Dragon. So I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Rune. So today we're doing Let's Talk Legendary. And we're going to be talking about the most powerful artifact in the Magic world, the Immortal Sun. So the Immortal Sun is actually a powerful item from the plane of Ixalan. This is a very unique card, which is a very interesting story. The creator of this object was actually Azor, who is a Sphinx and a Planeswalker. It is said that the Immortal Sun is the most powerful artifact in existence. As with something like this being created, mortals actually wanted this artifact. This artifact is currently hidden in the jungles of Ixalan, somewhere in Orzurka. It is said that the Immortal Sun can give someone basically whatever they want. For example, eternal life or strength of an empire. The Sphinx Planewalker, Azor, was one that created the Immortal Sun. Azor created the Immortal Sun to actually capture the Planeswalker Nicol Bolas with the help of the Spirit Dragon. Azor put some of his Planeswalker spirit into the item to make it sure that no Planeswalker can leave Ixalan, including himself. It is said that this object gives the intense heat when it is activated. So let's just get right into the history of some of the Immortals' long-standing history. The first group to actually have possession of this artifact was the Legion of Dust, located in Torrezon. Because of its immense power, many forces wanted to control the sun. So Pedron the Wicked was one such person who wanted the artifact. Azor was able to acquire the artifact before Pedron could take it and brought it to Ixalan. Another group of people that actually held the Immortal Sun was what's known as the Sun Empire. The Sun Empire built a city known as Orzurka. The Sun Empire placed the Immortal Sun in a chamber of the Tower of Triumph in Metzelia. This brought the empire into great prosperity, for the city, of course, had great prosperity, but things don't last. As a result, Azor made everyone leave the city to hide in the city. So the next group of people were actually that took care of the Immortal Sun were the Rivered Heralds, who were made of merfolk. They guarded the artifact for centuries and guarded it without knowing its exact location. This was that no one would know where exactly the artifact is, so no one could actually take control of it. Since the secrecy of the Immortal Sun, many people and groups wanted it for themselves. For example, Legion of Dust wanted it back because they wanted to achieve immortality without the use of blood. Brazen Callington wanted the artifact to eliminate the Legion of Dust. At this time, the merfolk known as the Kumra went to find the artifact, which everything went against what the River Heralds believed in. Of course, the Sun Empire wanted it back as well, so they hired the Planeswalker Hualti to find it as well. With everyone wanting it, Hualti actually teamed up with Tishna for the sole purpose of stopping the Kumra from finding the sun. We do know even Angorath Planeswalker wanted it too. Of course, the Planeswalker Vraska was ordered by Nicole Bolas to find it. Vraska knew she needed help finding the sun as well, so she got Jace Brillian to help her. He lost his memory, so he actually didn't know what he was really trying to do. As one would expect, all these parties pretty much arrived at the same time. Kumuna was the first to arrive just before the vampires. Maroon Fane and Vona, they had fought for the possession of the sun, and Kumuna was thrown out the window. Luckily, Hualta, who was there to save him, with those two parties fighting, Malcolm actually showed up. Everyone fought to see who would touch the sun first. Ironically, all 5 of them had touched it at the same time. Energy went through all these people. Then Vraska was somehow able to store the Immortal Sun with the help of Tetzimoc. Tetzimoc used the planar bridge to try to take the Immortal Sun off the plane, but apparently Bolas wanted the sun to invade Ravnica. So Bolas actually had a plan with the Immortal Sun. He wanted to capture all the planeswalkers on Ravnica. This is because he wanted to harvest the sparks with the interplanar beacon. A group of planeswalkers known as Lazu, Nisa, Chandra, and Celia were tasked action to make sure that the beacon was not working. Jace the Planeswalker actually managed to take the words out of Azor's mind to know how to shut off the sun. At the district of New Pravs, the Planeswalkers were able to stop the beacon after defeating Dovin Baan. Sadly, the sun was not destroyed, but actually activated again by the Planeswalkers to stop Bolas from trapping him. They were able to defeat Bolas, but unable to shut it down. It is said that Vivian did suggest that using the Immortal Sun to defeat Lilina. And that is all the information at the time we have of the sun. And hopefully maybe they can bring back the sun, who knows. So the infamous artifact, the Immortal Sun, is only represented in 1 card. So you've seen it throughout the entire video. It costs 6 mana, but it's really, really cool. It says players can't activate Planeswalker's loyal abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and creatures you control get +1/+1. For only 6 mana, you can do all this. Just incredible. It is a legendary artifact, just to let you know. And let's go on to other cards that are associated with the Immortal Sun. The first card that the Immortal Sun is associated, or I should say depicted in, is, well, Commence the End Game. So there it is, Nicol Bolas, even gods shall need. So basically, he's using the Immortal Sun to do his evil deeds. And well, this card is Sanctum of the Sun. Well, actually, this is one of my favorite Immortal Sun cards. Look at that picture. And the saying is, as soon as Jace laid eyes upon the Great Sphinx Chamber, the shards of memory beams sliding into place. And that card is just, like I said, just really cool picture. The next card that Immortal Sun is depicted in is basically Mastermind's Acquisition from Ixalan. Another piece of the Nefarious puzzle. And again, it looks almost like the same last card, but it looks like it's more activated in this card. Next card we have on the list is No Escape, and well, this is just another cool picture because basically Jace is intertwined with the Immortal Sun in the storyline, and it says, Jace surmised that they were walking into Bolas' trap. He felt no joy being right, and then you can see in the sky, there's the Immortal Sun being activated. Well, there's not much more to say, but these 3 islands represent the Immortal Sun has been depicted in, which is really cool that the islands have 3 islands in that set have the Immortal Sun depicted in it. So it's obviously a big major playing card. So the next set of cards I'm going to show you are cards that the Immortal Sun is quoted or referred to. The first one being Blood Sun, and the saying goes, as the struggle raged for control of the Immortal Sun, the world grew darker under a blood-red sky. And as you can see in the picture, it just makes absolute perfect sense. There's the old kingdom that had the nice little bridge. Another card that Immortal Sun is quoted into is Darren Buccaneer. It says, no ancient lore ties to the pirates, to the Brazen Coalition, to the Immortal Sun. But it's a powerful ancient artifact in a city of gold. What's not to covet? Next one is Deathless Ancient, and well, it says, Ancient One, we have reached the promised shore. The Immortal Sun is near. Drink and awake. Next, the Immortal Sun is quoted in Dusk Legion Zealand, actually from Masters 25 set, which is really cool. But it says, once they have reached Orzeka, the Legion's explorers ransack the tombs and temples, hunting for the Immortal Sun. The next card is Hardy Veteran. It says, for the Sun Empire, the Immortal Sun is a symbol of national identity. When they reclaim it, the Empire will flourish once more. The next card on the list is Inspiring Cleric. I really like that picture, but it says, the Immortal Sun will bring us true eternal life to replace the everlasting shadow of undeath, because of the blood sucking, right? Next card with the Immortal Sun is associated or recorded into is the Legion of Conquistador. It says the Legion of Dust sailed from Torazin in search of glory, riches, and of course, the Immortal Sun. Next we have is Ravenous Chewbacca. It says, opening the Orozaraka unleashed more horrors than just the Immortal Sun. Next we have is a Sanguine Glorifier. It says, for the Legion of Dust, the Immortal Sun is the source of eternal life. When they reclaim it, they will no longer be forced to subsist on the blood of the wicked. Next we have is Soul of the Rapids. A really cool card as well. But it says, with the Kuminia in control of the Immortal Sun, the rapids rose from their riverbeds, and the waterfalls took flight. Once again, with the storyline of them trying to protect the Immortal Sun. And the second last card the Immortal Sun is quoted into is the Star of Extinction. The visions haunt me. I see the end of the world, brought on by the search of the Immortal Sun. Shaper Passional. And the last and final card that the Immortal Sun is associated with is Sworn Guardian. It says, for the River Heralds, the Immortal Sun is an object of terror and devastation. The idea that anyone would retrieve it for their own use is utterly abhorrent. And there you go. Those are all the cards and all the information currently on the Immortal Sun. Who knows, it will come back in 10 years from now in the Magic? We don't know. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Runes. So today we'll be doing Let's Talk Legend. Today we'll be talking about the Mana Rig. So the Mana Rig is actually a structure that was built by the Thran on the plane of Dominaria. This is basically a metal structure that is the size of a small city. It is perched on Shiv on the cliff's edge. This was created by people known as Thran. As mentioned, the rig was created to create huge crystals that were batteries known as Power Stones. The Mana Rig also produced Thran metal, which people say were indestructible. During the time of Thran, there had been another Mana Rig at Halcon, which was actually eventually destroyed. The Mana Rig was actually a prototype of producing goods. Urza discovered the rig during the event known as Urza's Legacy. When it was discovered, he was able to get the Visciano and Goblin to work together to work on the Mana Rig. He used such devices on the rig to create metal for the Skyship Weatherlight. During the Phyrexian invasion on Dominaria, Yawgmoth's minions had attempted to destroy the Mana Rig. But surprisingly to the minions, and even Urza, the Mana Rig actually detached itself and defended itself. It was a planeswalker Johora who had previously installed guns on it that would shoot huge amounts of lava. The result of this that Urza was able to continue to make Power Stones with the Thran metal with Johora. Teferi was actually able to phase them out of time, which was the result of the storyline known as the Time Spiral when they were returning. The Mana Rig was very important during the second Phyrexian invasion as well. During the invasion, Shieldred's minions were able to overrun the Mana Rig, and Johora had no choice but to initiate the self-destruct. The new coalition, who used this as the home base of operations, had lost everything, and the Phyrexian had accomplished what they were set out to do. The Silex was neutralized, the Mana Rig was destroyed, and Karn was captured. After the destruction of the Mana Rig, some Power Stones were actually able to be recovered, and that is all the information we have on the Mana Rig at the moment. So the Mana Rig was actually represented in 1-1 card only, and it took till 2022 to actually get a card for the Mana Rig. Basically says whenever you cast a multicolor spell, create a tap power token. Pay 3x, look at the top X cards of your library, put up to 2 of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. The only card that really is kind of cool because it does cost 3 to get those Power Stones. So the Mana Rig is actually depicted in many cards throughout all the Magic world. And this one from Beaner's Sega, and look at the back of the Acidic Soil card there's the Mana Rig just in the background. So that's really cool. Then we have another card from the Urza's block is Impending Disasters. And well, there's the gun shooting out lava, and those are the two goblins and the Visciano working together. It's really cool. And the saying is, the goblins are in charge of maintenance. Why not set it on fire now and call it a day? Next we have is Bend or Break from Invasion. And that is probably one of the clearest pictures of the Mana Rig. I really think this card is cool because it can show how can it detach from its main source. Then there's actually not much more to this card, but it's really cool that they have the Mana Rig in a basic land card from the Dominaria United. And there's not, like I said, it's just really cool that it's a land. There's nothing more, nothing special. Then we have another great card from the Urza Lega series, is Defense Grid. And that's quite a clear picture of the Mana Rig. And there's not much more to say at that. The saying is, we've managed to keep the goblins in their assigned areas, but there's little we can do about the smell. And the last card is from the Invasion series, Scorching Lava, and I really like how this is tied into the story, because there's the Mana Rig shooting out lava. Now we'll just go over some cards that the Mana Rig is actually referred to. So being the subtext, most likely the first one being Crawl Space, the goblins did not understand their attraction to the Mana Rig. They simply knew it was where they belonged. Next we have is Chivalry from Dominaria United, and this bottom says, the boiling seas around Shiv provided a welcome layer of protection for the reclaimed Mana Rig. Next card we have is Goblin Picker, and well, the saying says, countless generations of Shivan goblins have worked on the Mana Rig, giving them an unparalleled eye for useful relics. And there he is picking through all the relics, so that's a really cool card and picture that is, again, tied with a Mana Rig. Next card we have is Thran Lens, and it's from the Urza series, which seems to be from the Dominaria United and Urza's series, very popular. And the saying in the card goes, every device in the rig is evidence of Thran enlightenment. All mana was the same to them, whether from rock or water, growth or decay. Can you imagine such unity of vision? Next card we have is Meltdown. Catastrophes happen so often at the Mana Rig that the Ashino language had a special word to describe them. And last but not least on the entire, video is, we got the Grappler. It says, they've returned for the Mana Rig, but it no longer belongs to them. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and this is all the information the cards related to the Mana Rig at the time of this video. So I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.